4% of public GitHub commits written by Claude Code, somewhere that 90% of software engineers are now using AI to some capacity. So let's not do that, but focus on niche markets. So maybe build a custom tool for carpenters, for plumbers, right? Because at the end of the day, a farmer or plumber might not be willing to use Claude Code and have a Claude Code subscription. That does make sense, right? We have friends. Welcome to Technology Talks, your one place where we break down the latest trends in technology and finance, where we dissect AI and economic strategy. Thank you for tuning in. We are your hosts, Elvis and Explicit.
Hi, I'm Explicit, the founder of Lennox, your personal AI tutor that personalizes your education material according to your interests. Let's say you're interested in basketball. We teach you using that. You can even play podcasts on your way to the next class. Try Lennox at len-x.co.
And my name is Elvis Kimara. I'm the founder of Thoroughly, the first agentic bartering platform that allows cashless exchange of goods and services. Basically, the next Facebook marketplace where everything from search, bargaining, delivery, payments is handled by AI/agents. Thank you for tuning into today's episode.
Yeah, so today we're going to discuss on is SaaS still going to survive? To those that don't know what SaaS is, that's software as a service. So with the uplift of AI coding tools, the game has really changed. Most SaaS companies previously survived because they had the talent that most people did not have. They could push out features fast. They could make a fancy website that most of the times didn't provide so much value. So with these AI coding tools coming in, a lot has changed, and it has kind of given everyone a level of skills in terms of pushing out code and software in general.
Yes. But yeah, before diving deeper into whether SaaS is dead, we had some few statistics that we wanted to share. First one being 4% of public GitHub commits written by Claude Code.
Which is really interesting. Claude Code was released last year, and it actually became booming. Most people joined Claude Code in November, which is interesting. I don't know how long I've been using Claude Code. It's been a while. I think I was one of the early adopters.
You were.
But most people joined in November, and most people, they had most traction last December. But despite the few months they've had traction, they've already capacitated 4% of the total commits. And that's only the public commits. That doesn't count for people who still manually write their PRs, despite the code being written by Claude Code. That doesn't account for private repositories. So if you really look at it, I think by now we are close to 10% of all GitHub commits all time are written by Claude Code.
True. They also did say, by the end of 2026, they project 26% of all code to be written by.
Which is really interesting.
And that's the part where I call bull. I think you should take all this with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, it's just another CEO trying to hype and, scare you software engineers. Don't believe that.
I think it's pretty believable because people have been quickly moving to Claude Code. And looking at this, we're just looking at one company right now.
Sure.
There's Codex, there's
Sure.
Kesa. Just that Kesa doesn't write if it is, most of the times when I use Kesa, it just pushes as if I'm the one who's pushing the code to the PRs. So all that code that is being pushed by Kesa and Codex might not be accounted for.
Sure.
Private repositories definitely are not accounted for. So I think 26% maybe by Claude Code might be an overestimation, but 26% by AI agents pushing code, I think by 2026 would have definitely reached that figure.
Maybe our audience might be interested. How do you think they track this? Do you think the AI is leaving watermarks in the code?
So every time that I push code with Claude Code, it pushes as it's an agent.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go into my repository, you see that like there is like 2 users. Just like when there's multiple people in a repository, it tracks who pushes that code. So Claude or Anthropic, they did something great there. They knew what they were doing when they made their agent be marked as the one who was pushing code there, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that does make it more believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't find the statistics for this, but I saw somewhere that 90% of software engineers are now using AI to some capacity. So that's very believable.
Yeah, that's super believable, because even if an engineer is not using these coding tools, they are not using Stack Flow or Stack Overflow anymore.
Yeah.
They're going on ChatGPT. How do I fix this specific bug?
And the copy pasting, yeah.
Then they copy paste.
Another very interesting statistic was 500,000 apps on Apple Store. From those 500,000 apps, only 0.3% yielded revenue exceeding $100. So of all the 500,000 apps out there, only a handful raised more than $100.
That's actually interesting and super believable, because people are pushing applications these days. Everyone and their mother can just push applications, and making people pay for a product, that's a different whole game.
True. There's a lot of AI app slop out there. I blame a few content creators that just basically say, "Oh, have this simple app idea, and no matter what, just put a paywall." And if you do that, I promise you'll have 20K MRR by the end of the month.
Like telling people to put a notepad tracker and say put a paywall.
Yeah, Stripe integration. That's all you need to do.
No, I think it's one of the negative things that AI has come with. I think like before, we could use number of apps to kind of see how many people are joining software engineering, and we could use it as a proper statistics to measure a lot of things. But now, because like maybe we have 50,000 people pushing like notepad trackers on the App Store, that data is now hard to actually use to come out with anything, because like someone must just wake up and say, okay, I need a calorie tracker, and they just do something that's already existent, that is already available there, that is free. And it's understandable when you have like your variations which are different, or you see like the other apps that are out there are not doing something that you actually want.
Yeah.
Then you'll be like, okay, maybe let me make this or something like that. But because of like the power that we have been given, most of us are just like abusing it. We're pushing those tokens towards some things that are necessary.
Yeah. In today's world, building is not the problem. It's actually just solving the problem and going to market. So.
No, that's actually interesting. But you see, all this conversation, it leads to the topic that you actually mentioned about software as a service dying. Because like we had people who had like, not that I'm bashing all the calorie trackers, right? We had people who had calorie trackers that were paid for, and they didn't do anything significant. Now, because people now have the power to just quickly make their own calorie tracker, that business in most cases become unviable. Of course, there's going to be a few that will survive, like Cow AI. I don't know how they survived this, but they did.
Being first.
Yeah, being first in the market, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, first movers advantage was one of their.
And also having a very simple, integration, just a picture that takes a picture of your food and then gives you how many calories you're consuming. Yeah. I think you mentioned how if you see something out there you don't like, make your own version of it. So I'm building Thoroughly, right? It's a agentic marketplace that allows cashless bartering. Like I said, I have come across a similar app out there, and I was curious and I downloaded it. The idea was way different from mine. Theirs was kind of like a Tinder for bartering. So people have like, you list maybe your shoe, a cup, and you just like swipe right, swipe left. And if there's a match, kind of like Tinder, then you exchange it. It's not the worst idea, but there were a few issues with the UI and a few other problems that, in my opinion, why it wasn't working. And so, yeah, if you have great taste and you have a deep understanding of the problem, you can still be leveraged to stand out. So, yeah.
Nice, living testimony. Love that.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, back to the question, is SaaS dead? I think it's not dead. I just think it's shrunk.
Okay.
Shrunk from a labor market standpoint, the amount of software engineers needed. Obviously, we might need 10%, 20% of software engineering teams to manage that SaaS application like Netflix, Spotify.
Okay.
I don't think SaaS is fully gonna be wiped out.
Well, yeah, I definitely do agree to it not being fully wiped out, right? We have things that like have moving costs and or switching costs, right? You have your, let's say you use Apple Music, right? And you want to move to the new, let's say you're tired of paying for Apple Music, and then someone has their free service that provides music. You already have like your playlists that are there. You don't want to lose those playlists and whatsoever. So because usually if you find a tool that transfers the playlist, usually it's a paid for tool.
True.
So because you're already used to like the Apple ecosystem, yada 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 yada. So those switching costs will make you stay at Apple. And this applies to most of like the big software as a service providers. Netflix, you already love your Netflix, and they have because some SaaS business models have a deeper underlying value into them. Music or any content like Netflix, right? They have like the copyrights to the music, to the movies. So there's that whole network layer that you can easily swipe off.
True.
But then it comes to the middle level SaaS, to the bottom level SaaS, which is I just go in my code base, right? And I just make this accounting tool. Not so many integration to taxes or whatsoever, or some knowledgeable things that people can easily find out there. I just make this accounting too. Those ones are easily going to die because like now small businesses will just go and vibe code their accounting too. Find an accountant who probably verify if it's producing the right output or not, and then they now have their tool and they don't have to pay $6,000 a month. So that's the way I see things going with how people are moving towards customization and personalization in software.
True.
I don't know how you see this.
So basically what you're saying, the big companies like Spotify, Netflix, they have some moats, switching costs, network effects that keep them protected, right? The issue then is for the small businesses or the entrepreneurs that want to build SaaS applications for the small businesses. the small businesses are now leveraged to build their own tools without having to hire someone or pay a software engineer, right? So that's the problem for the entrepreneur, the tech entrepreneur. And also, it gets another problem for the tech entrepreneur is if we're telling everyone on social media to use AI for coding, right? So then everyone can build their own SaaS for themselves. Why would they want to use yours that has a paywall?
Yeah.
You know, if I download this app and I see, oh, it sucks, or it's paywalled, I can just tell my OpenClaw, build me the exact same thing,
Yeah.
right? So then, how do you paywall something to? How do you paywall an application, or how do you sell an application in such a world? I think SaaS is dead, or in a really bad place for the tech entrepreneur, and it's shrunk for the big tech.
Yeah, that's actually true, and that's actually mostly accurate. While we are agreeing to this, there's also some caveats to it, right? People don't want to go into KSI and start doing that whole debugging. That's one. It's hard to get in through the debugging, so people might prefer paying. That's how some few companies might be able to stay, because there's always going to be a little demand from people that don't want to do the debugging and work with these AI tools. And also, there's also going to be the issue of accuracy and the need of like customer service, right? If you make your application, it will probably have some bugs. You can call anyone. You have to get in there again and figure it out. It's frustrating to some point, but I think as these AI tools get better, all these 2 points that I mentioned won't be much of a problem, because they'll probably be able to one-shot something that gives accurate information. Because I've seen companies are kind of leaning towards building knowledge basis of like the corporate or entrepreneurship side in their AI models, so that their AI models are really useful for workplaces. So that information will actually also result in producing better code for entrepreneurship related businesses.
Online, I've seen a lot of advice that says the new alpha is to. So back in the day, the alpha was try to solve a problem that affects 10 million people or a billion people, right? So build like a social media app, something very abstract that can touch many people, get millions of downloads, right? And currently, there's a lot of advice that says, don't do that, but focus on niche markets. So maybe build a custom tool for carpenters, for plumbers, right? Because at the end of the day, a farmer or plumber might not be willing to use Claude Code and have a Claude Code subscription. That does make sense, right? We have friends who, despite these AI tools, never want to program. We know designers, we know PMs who don't want to code. So there is an opportunity there. It could be down to first mover, or this arbitrage opportunity might only exist for the next 2-3 years, right? You have farmers who are in the 80s. You aren't going to expect them to code, but yes, you can still sell them a custom SaaS application, right? I think this arbitrage opportunity will only last 5 years, because we now have 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds who are growing up with AI tools.
Yeah.
And
that will be actually a new generation that will be in those jobs, and they use these AI tools, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
So, as you're mentioning, it comes to something that everyone has been talking about, which I do agree with, that you need to be a high agency person. If you find a problem in the specific sector, just get into that sector, fix that problem as fast as possible. And if you fix the problem, I think try to make sure that you create some sort of friction for users to be able to stay within that platform. Just make sure there may be switching costs. If they now want to move to their own model, there are some switching costs. Just like things that makes a customer stay with your product?
I'm trying to borrow your brains on this. There's a lot of talk saying the next wave of SaaS will be agentic marketplaces or just SaaS that's built for agents to crawl the internet, for instance.
Yeah.
And I know that kind of plays into, is SaaS dead? Because you think about free SaaS applications like Facebook Marketplace or social media, they or the internet or Google, they thrive off of ad revenue. So it's free, but then they use your data or they sell ads to you, and that's how they make their profit, right? In a future where agents are the ones crawling the internet, agents are the ones recommending, I wonder if the freemium model dies, you know? Think, for instance, Facebook Marketplace. I don't have a fully fleshed out idea, but I wanted to pick your brains on this. Think Facebook Marketplace. They're in a unique opportunity. They're in a unique problem right now. Everyone's saying agentic is the next wave, the next thing. If they allow people to crawl their search, their inventory, then they lose the viewership from human eyes and they cannot sell, right? Kind of like Google. And yeah, so if every application becomes an API company, that too kills SaaS because it's just OpenClaw talking to OpenClaw and
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Maybe someone will build a solution that allows agents to pay a fee to get the data. I know a company, what's that, Cloudflare, they tried to do something that blocks agents from crawling sites, and maybe agents had a paywall, so they pay a little bit to get the data. So maybe that would bring back SaaS. Yeah, I'm just curious what you think about the freemium model if it dies with SaaS, going to SaaS dead.
Your question comes in two parts, right? And one of the parts involves things like Google and their ad revenue, right? So I think Google being a big player in the AI game, right? I think this is random, but they can easily, because like agents are coming, they need the data, right? And the data, most of the data is accessed within Google, right? So when agents come searching for something, Google can still optimize to what does an agent see first? What's on the top of the list of like what the agent is seeing? So whoever was paying for that ads and whatsoever, I think the structure will probably be the same, but structured for like agents, such that like they will probably see ads, but I know that agents will probably use a greptile or something, which is stop thinking about Geritan. But it is actually interesting. At the end of the day, there is going to be someone who's going to be providing those services that you'll be looking for, right? I don't know if they'll be specifically software.
True.
Will be the critical part.
True.
That will they still be software? I don't think so.
Yeah. On that note, guys, ads are coming to ChatGPT, so be ready for that.
Yeah, but as we are winding down, it is important that if you still are interested in making something that is related to a software as a service, you kind of see how that can survive in the world of agents. And even if it's not software as a service, one of the most important things that people have been doing is to optimize things like websites for agents to be able to see them or LLMs to see them. I've seen so many people saying that most of like my click-through rates are coming from ChatGPT. So you actually have to make sure that LLMs can see the data that you're providing out there so that they can search when they search about the specific tools that you're providing, they can see those tools and people can get recommended, and you probably get higher outcome from people because people are no longer using Google. If you're still just like optimizing for Google, people are really using Google to search up things. People ask things to their Claude, to their Gemini, of course, at least Gemini will be related to the Google, but like some users use ChatGPT. So if it's ChatGPT, they need to get through the LLM. You just have to make sure that your website has an LLM file that gives them access to see what you're providing.
The word is AEO.
Agentic.
How we have search engine optimization, we have agentic engine optimization.
Nice.
Yeah. For me, as we wind up, if you're a tech entrepreneur, of course, or just someone in tech, try to leverage these AI tools to build solutions that you can sell. And yeah, we just removed my part. Yeah. You finish.
Okay. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Stay. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to Technology Talks.
Thank you.
Have a good day.